Chain Drug Review, and Mass Market Retailers Video Forum. Brought to you by the Emerson Group.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jeffrey Wolt, Editor-in-Chief of Chain Drug Review and Mass Market Retailers. Welcome to our video forum. Today, we're delighted to have as our guest Pam Gill Alabaster, Global Head of ESG and Sustainability at Kenvue, formerly Johnson & Johnson Consumer Healthcare. Pam, great to have you with us.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm delighted to be here with you today.
Kenvue recently released its first Healthy Lives Mission report. What initiatives are summarized in the report, and why has the company made ESG and sustainability such a high priority?
Healthy Lives Mission is just one way that we live into our purpose, which is to realize the extraordinary power of everyday care. Our ESG strategy aims to manage the impacts, the risks, and the opportunities that are created as part of our business operations, but also to create value for our brands, our business, and hopefully for society and other stakeholders. We know that sustainability can enhance our brands and business reputation. We also know our investors, our customers, and consumers expect us to advance our practice in this area. And there's pretty strong evidence that sustainability can help attract and retain the best talent, especially among early career professionals who are very motivated by companies that have values or lead with values and demonstrate their purpose. And, you know, I sit in the growth function, and I think it's important to recognize as well that we believe strongly that sustainability is a lever for innovation and growth. The strategy that we just stood up and that is reflected in the report that we just launched yesterday is organized into 3 pillars: healthy people, healthy planet, healthy practice. We have 9 material topics that really it focuses our enterprise and our organization behind where we can make the most material impact. And then we have 20 goals and commitments that really hold us accountable for demonstrating progress. And as you mentioned, yesterday we launched our first report. I will tell you, it's been an incredible year to stand up a strategy, put programs in place, start to operationalize that strategy, and then launch a report, all in 1 year of becoming a public company.
As you say, Kenvue is new as a standalone entity. How big a departure does your current sustainability and ESG strategy represent from the previous incarnation of what is now Kenvue?
Well, pretty significantly in that we really are at the intersection of health and consumer goods. So the expectation is that we behave more like a fast-moving consumer goods company, and that we are very mindful of the resources that we use in the production of our products, as well as designing products that are better for people, but also for the planet. So there wasn't really much that we could lift and shift over. Most of the work has really been foundational, and it's really important as you build an ESG strategy to build it for what's material to your company. You know, what was material for a $90 billion company plus is not the same as what's material today for a $15 billion company.
Let me drill down on a couple of the areas that are highlighted in the report. Your approach to diversity and inclusion has several dimensions. Maybe you can talk about what that means in terms of the staffing of the company and management team, and then also how does that impact the products that you're offering to the consumer?
So we think of diversity, equity, and inclusion as sort of 3 lenses. The first is around workforce, and that's how we recruit talent so that the people on our teams reflect the consumers that we're serving. The second is workplace, and that's how do we recruit and retain the talent by keeping or developing a culture of inclusion and belonging where people thrive and can show up to be their real selves. And then marketplace, which is how we develop products that meet the diverse needs of the more than 1 billion consumers around the world who use our products every day. And we have several compelling examples, I'd say, of how we've leveraged our insights and our diverse teams to better understand consumer needs and to inform product innovation and also marketing approaches. So not just how the brand is represented in front of the camera, but also behind the camera as well. And a couple examples, we have a Neutrogena Pure Screen Mineral UV face tint liquid. I know it's a long brand name. It's a sunscreen product that was developed with the insight that mineral-based sunscreens can leave a white chalky film, especially on dark skins. So they've added some tinted technology to make sure that all skin tones can benefit from the use of sunscreen. Another product is Johnson's Blaquino Poderoso, which is a line of hair care products that were developed specifically in Brazil for children with curly hair. I'm sure you're familiar with the Band-Aid Hour Tones, the bandages that come in a wide variety of skin colors so that people can, find a match for themselves. And then an example I just learned about this week is Listerine, a green tea formulation, which originated in China, but which we saw a market opportunity for in Canada to address the preferences of Asian consumers in the Canadian marketplace. And so we brought that formulation over. We have a lot of good, really solid regional examples where we've successfully innovated with intention to address diverse consumer needs, but there's so much more opportunity.
Yeah. How have consumers responded to these innovative products?
Well, I think, we were talking actually yesterday about how do we measure success on this? Is it enough to satisfy the needs of a smaller subset of the market? And I think the answer is yes, because we really want to provide healthcare solutions for everybody, regardless of, your race, your ethnicity, your gender, your beliefs, your rituals, your behaviors, your habits. So I would say they've been very well received, and it really goes a long way to building trust with consumers.
Mm-hmm. Environmental stewardship is another high priority for Kenvue. What steps are you taking to cut carbon emissions?
You may have seen we have validated science-based targets. So we are in the peer set that is using science as a barometer for what is our fair share of climate reduction. We have made significant, it's probably the area where we are most advanced in our sustainability practice, but we have made significant investments in energy efficiency programs. We've made a lot of investment also in on-site and purchase power agreement renewable electricity, such that today we're about 65% of our electricity is sourced from renewables, and we're pretty far on our way toward 100%. So we feel really good about that. And we're in the process of developing our roadmap, or decarbonization roadmap for net zero. So stay tuned for more on that.
I read that you're also moving toward adopting principles that would lead to a circular economy. Maybe you could talk a little bit about those efforts.
Yeah, certainly. So we completely embrace the design principles of a circular economy, which really thinks about both upstream, how do you design with intention, and downstream, what's the infrastructure that needs to be in place to make sure materials can be recovered. When we think about packaging, for example, we start with, it's the 4 R's. We start with, how do we reduce the material overall? Can we do this? Can we achieve the same packaging integrity and delivery and experience with less material? Then the replace, can we replace non-renewable sources or feedstocks with renewable feedstocks, either bio-based or recycled content? Then we think about reusability or refillability. Can we design so that a consumer can keep the same primary and refill it multiple times? But lastly, we design with the idea that how could the materials be recovered and reused in the future? And how do we keep those valuable materials in play? And 71% of our packages today are designed to be what's called recycle ready, which means in theory, they can be recycled in, general waste collection and infrastructure. But as you and I know, not all consumers recycle, and not all markets around the world have the same kind of waste infrastructure. So we're doing our part to make sure that materials stay in use and are kept at their highest valued level longer. But there are other actors in that value chain that need to play a part.
You mentioned that you're committed to a science-based approach to all of these issues. How do you keep abreast of developments in climate science and other areas that impact the environment? And then how do you apply that knowledge to your policies?
So science is evolving every day, and we strongly believe that science is the bedrock of trust with all of our stakeholders. It underpins everything we do. It's the core of how we provide care. And it's central to how we believe we will be a more sustainable company. And so there are informal and formal ways that we keep abreast. Obviously, white papers, we attend webinars, we go to conferences, but we also have joined several coalitions, if you would, that allow us to have engagement with peers and other subject matter experts. Groups like the World Wildlife Fund's Climate Business Network, I think I mentioned that to you before we started this interview. The Renewable Thermal Coalition, which is really focused on Scope 1 and how do we drive thermal energy in a more decarbonized way. Green Biz Executive Network, the Consumer Goods Forum, and we're involved in several work streams there, Sustainable Brands, Ellen MacArthur Foundation. And so we learn from experts, we learn from others, we learn from our peers also, and we do a lot of benchmarking. And then we go back and we say, is this applicable for us? Is this meet the level of ambition we're looking to achieve? And then how do we implement that for Kenvue and do it the Kenvue way?
To what extent does Kenvue try to involve its business partners, including the retailers who sell your products, in your efforts to promote sustainability and ESG?
So it's a great question. I've said it many times in my career, it takes a village, and you can go further, faster together. Last month, we had our first supplier day. We convened our top 70 suppliers across, chemicals, packaging, indirect, logistics, etc. And I had the opportunity to host 4 workshops. We had structured it so there was always a rotation. And that was really focused on how we can collaborate to drive sustainable innovation and co-creation. The response was so incredibly positive. They are also looking to drive performance and looking for willing partners or like-minded organizations. We just launched our supplier climate action program, which aims to help suppliers wherever they are in their maturity curve, advance their own climate journey and ultimately set their own science-based targets. We are hearing more and more, 2 weeks ago in Chicago at the Consumer Goods Forum, we're hearing more and more from our large customers who want to partner and collaborate with us on approaches that mutually advance our company's respective goals and commitments. And I know in direct conversations myself with suppliers and with customers that sustainability is a shared priority. Our suppliers drive our Scope 3 emissions. We drive our customers' Scope 3 emissions. So we need to, and it is in our best interest to work together to on common approaches.
Couple of final questions for you. What role can Kenvue and other businesses play in encouraging consumers to change their behavior and adopt a more environmentally friendly lifestyle?
So, probably the big question, research shows that sustainability is a top concern for consumers. But I believe that companies can do more to provide consumers with better choices. Products that are high performing and efficacious and more sustainable and better for the planet. I just don't know that consumers have enough choice yet. And I also believe that we can do a better job helping consumers understand the benefits and trade-offs associated with their choices. So, for example, why is it good to use refills? What are the environmental benefits? And can we explain that to consumers in a consistent, standardized way across industries so that they get it and they embrace the behaviors that are required to use, refillable packaging? I think there's a lot more to do there. And we look to work in collaboration with our customers and our peers to, again, drive performance and progress.
At this point, are you seeing any change in consumer behavior based on environmental initiatives or a given company's track record in sustainability?
So I do think it matters to consumers. I do think we see pockets of consumers. Certainly a European consumer is far more sophisticated and advanced than an American consumer today, because they see it and they feel it, in the regulatory environment as well. I would say that, new mothers are probably leaning in more on sustainability than other audiences. And I think Gen Z is a little bit concerned, would be the right word, for the planet that they're inheriting and wanting to make sure that they have the resources and the abundance necessary to thrive. Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to see more and more adoption, I think, among consumers, mainstream consumers, especially in the on me, in me, around me categories, where you either ingest it, you put it on your body, or you put, so, yeah.
Well, I certainly hope you're correct. I appreciate your insights today, and it was great to talk with you.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. Really appreciate the opportunity.